Have you ever looked up at the night sky and seen something that just absolutely stopped you in your tracks? Well, let's dive right into this explainer and investigate the rigorous analytical process experts use to decode mysterious aerial phenomena. Today, we're focusing on exactly why certain lights in our sky completely defy aerial explanation, while others can be neatly demystified by science and forensic video analysis. We're going to look at the exact methods used to separate your everyday optical illusions from genuine, inexplicable mysteries.
We've got 5 seriously fascinating case files to open today. We'll be looking at lights over ancient pyramids, lunar eclipse aerial anomalies, neighborhood electromagnetic disruptions, UFOs at nuclear sites, and finally, the flash flood miracle. Let's see how these mysteries build. Case 1. Lights over ancient pyramids. So, picture this. It's December 2020. A group of friends are out filming the Great Pyramids of Giza at night. But instead of focusing on those incredible 4,500-year-old monuments, they're suddenly captivated by something way higher up. They catch 3 strange lights hanging in a perfect diamond formation right over the pyramids, which then seem to separate and fall from the sky. So we have to ask, are we looking at extraterrestrial visitors interacting with ancient monuments, or is there a much more grounded explanation? Journalist Amy Title notes that the 1994 movie Stargate really popularized the idea of a wormhole inside the pyramids. And, some actually wonder if a massive empty space discovered inside the pyramids in 2017 could be connected to this sci-fi concept. But before we go jumping straight to ancient wormholes, we really need to look at what the experts suggest. Basically, we've got 2 competing theories here. The skeptical view, championed by analyst Rich Hoffman, suspects these were just nighttime parachuters dropping in with flares. He specifically points to an annual event called Jump Like a Pharaoh, where skydivers literally jump over the pyramids. Sounds plausible, right? But aviation expert Tim McMillan points out a massive flaw in that theory. Think about it. Parachutes or floating sky lanterns are entirely dependent on wind currents. They should all be moving together in the same direction. These lights, however, they moved independently in totally different directions. Some even rose upward. That completely defies normal wind-dependent flight characteristics.
So, the crucial takeaway here is that experts categorically label this a genuine UFO. Why? Because it completely defies our current understanding of flight. There is literally no known conventional aircraft, parachute, or lantern that behaves this way. The mystery over Giza remains wide open, which is a great reminder that sometimes our skies truly do hold things we just cannot explain yet.
Case 2. Lunar eclipse aerial anomalies.
Next up, we shift our focus to lunar eclipses. Now, there's a long-held belief out there that eclipses generate supernatural energy, maybe running along global ley lines, and that this energy supposedly attracts alien sightings. We're going to look specifically at 2 highly unusual anomalies photographed during eclipses. First, over Los Angeles, someone photographed a massive, terrifying V-shaped craft with a laser-like line shooting straight toward it. But the explanation for that? Surprisingly terrestrial. It wasn't an alien mothership at all, it was actually a canal cloud, which is also known as a hole punch cloud. When a high-altitude plane punches through a specific cloud layer, it causes super cold water droplets to evaporate or freeze, leaving behind these massive, bizarre geometric shapes in the sky. And that scary laser beam? Yeah, that was just a contrail from a second, higher-altitude aircraft catching the light.
Okay, but what about the Colorado sighting? A photographer there captured this massive green streak zipping right past the eclipsed moon. Breaking down this sighting, astrophotographer Andrew McCarthy easily eliminated satellites, mostly because Earth's shadow actually hides them during an eclipse. Astronomy expert Mark D'Antonio also ruled out a meteor, mainly because it was moving too slowly and lacked that characteristic bright terminal flare at the end. So what on earth was it? Well, McCarthy actually tracked the exact flight path data for that specific night and proved, beyond a doubt, that the green streak was just United Airlines Flight 2649. Because the photographer was shooting an eclipse in really low light, the camera needed a super slow shutter speed. That slow shutter completely stretched and blurred the plane's standard green wingtip light into what looked like an alien streak across the sky.
Case 3. Neighborhood electromagnetic disruptions. Let's move to our 3rd case file, taking us to Whittier, California. In September 2020, a home surveillance video captured a truly chaotic scene. The homeowner heard this incredibly loud buzzing noise, and their camera caught a spherical light shooting upward, massive electronic camera interference, and a concussive shockwave that literally set off neighborhood car alarms. So could this be an extraterrestrial craft using electromagnetic frequencies that are actively disrupting our tech? Journalist M.J. Bonius notes that UFO lore is absolutely full of stories where alien propulsion systems interfere with electronics and emit strange buzzing noises right before taking off. Or is this just something built right here on Earth?
Before we jump straight to alien EMPs, we really have to understand a fascinating little quirk about how cameras work. Surveillance cameras often scan an image one horizontal line at a time. If there is a rapidly flickering light source in the environment, the camera simply can't process it properly. This creates these weird horizontal bars that seem to roll up the screen. This perfectly explains the supposed electronic interference seen on the footage. It wasn't an EMP at all. It was just the camera hardware struggling to record a wildly flashing light.
But that still leaves the big question. What was that flashing light? Astronomy and video expert Mark D'Antonio mapped out the exact steps of the object's flight path. Watch how it behaves. It shoots up, it pauses right at terminal velocity, and then it explodes with a concussive shock wave that triggers all those car alarms. He proves this wasn't a melting telephone pole transformer, and it certainly wasn't a racing drone, which, let's be real, would have to be packed with explosives to trigger alarms like that. It matches the exact, precise physical profile of a mortar firework. And when you consider that the date on the surveillance camera was September 11th, yeah, it was highly likely just a patriotic backyard firework display.
Case 4. UFOs at nuclear sites.
Our fourth case takes us to the heavily restricted airspace over the Point Beach nuclear power plant in Wisconsin. A witness recorded a large glowing orange orb and 3 smaller lights just hovering ominously in the dark sky. Now, because nuclear plants are strictly restricted airspace, commercial airlines and drones don't just casually fly over them. That makes literally any light in this sky highly suspicious. This sighting actually brings up a pretty chilling hypothesis known as the galactic zoo theory. This is frequently used to explain why UFOs seem inexplicably drawn to our nuclear sites. The idea is that they aren't attacking us, they're just silently observing our technological capabilities, treating us like animals in a zoo. This is exactly what was alleged in the famous 1967 incident at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, where a red orb appeared and suddenly multiple nuclear missile systems were just completely disabled. So the crucial point we have to weigh for this Wisconsin video is this. Are we looking at a highly advanced alien monitoring station hovering over a nuclear reactor, or are we looking at a very grounded, mundane optical illusion? Well, when analyst Rich Hoffman carefully reviewed the footage, he noticed something hiding right there in the darkness. There's a faint silhouette of a building in the foreground, and those hovering lights actually sit relatively low in relation to it. He quickly realized the camera wasn't looking up at the sky at all. It was pointed straight ahead across the landscape. Furthermore, that distinct orange hue, it perfectly matches high-pressure sodium vapor lights, which are incredibly common in industrial streetlights and on large buildings. The lights weren't defying gravity. They were literally just attached to poles in the ground.
And finally, Case 5, the flash flood miracle.
For our final case, we're actually going to pivot from lights in the sky down to the ground because this perfectly highlights how experts apply the exact same rigorous analytical framework to seemingly impossible earthly events. In Pueblo, Colorado, a woman was miraculously pulled from a completely submerged car in a flash flood by rescuers. Witnesses say she popped out of the water like a cork. But here is the massive mystery. When the vehicle was recovered later, all the doors and windows were found completely shut and fully intact. We have to ask how someone could possibly escape a sealed, sinking metal box when the laws of physics are actively working against them. Was this a genuine miracle, perhaps involving an angelic rescuer, as some researchers of divine intervention suggest, or is there a mechanical, earthly explanation we're just missing?
As physicist Dr. Hakeem Olusay breaks it down for us, every natural element mathematically prevents an escape here. Modern powered windows short out almost immediately when submerged in water. The immense exterior water pressure makes it physically impossible for a human being to push the door open against the current. And if you decide to wait for the pressure to equalize so the door can easily open, by then the car is entirely filled with water, leaving absolutely no air for you to breathe. Because of that insurmountable physical pressure and the inevitable electrical failure, experts genuinely label her escape from a sealed car a possible, unexplainable miracle.
Looking at the final scorecard for these cases really shows the true power of this rigorous analysis. We can see that while experts can decode most mysteries, turning terrifying eclipse UFOs into planes and clouds, and neighborhood EMPs into fireworks and camera artifacts, some events truly do defy explanation. The physics-defying lights over Giza and that impossible physical escape in Colorado remain genuine mysteries on the books.
Which leaves us with this final thought for you to chew on.
Whether it's an impossible escape from a raging flood or unexplainable lights dancing over ancient pyramids, it really makes you wonder what else is waiting out there to be discovered. If we rigorously apply all of our science, all of our forensic analysis, and still come up empty-handed, just how vast is the unknown? Keep looking up and always keep questioning what you see.